This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission to
Johnny Carson rival Jack Delroy hosts a syndicated talk show, Night Owls, that has long been a trusted companion to insomniacs around the country. However, ratings for the show have plummeted since the tragic death of Jack's beloved wife. Desperate to turn his fortunes around on October 31st, 1977, Jack plans a Halloween special like no other, unaware he's about to unleash evil into the living rooms of America. John?
Yes.
This movie has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes.
With 196 reviews.
Yes.
And you recommended it because it sounded like a great idea. It was free.
It did. Yes.
On streaming.
Yes.
And
am I in
how
trouble?
Did that great
how did that
idea
go for you?
Pan out?
This isn't. It's not like
Last Night with the Devil is the name of this movie. Did I say that?
Late Night with the Devil, not Last
Late
Night with the
Doesn't
Devil.
matter. I'll forget about it tomorrow.
I watched it yesterday.
I just titled
so it
the
was Last
project
Night with the
Devil because I forgot the title
right.
already.
Yeah.
Late Night with the Devil. This isn't the best film ever, but I enjoyed it. I like the style. I like the setup. It did its job. It wasn't like the best thing ever, but I found it entertaining and liked it for what it was, like an indie film. This, is a fairly low budget number, and it's done really well.
I had a hard time finding the budget because I was really curious. I found one number. I found that the special effects budget was $150,000.
Okay,
really?
Overall,
that's it.
But I couldn't get the. That's it.
Wow.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised?
Not really. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think so.
So I
give me a weekend with After Effects, and I could crank this out. I think.
I mean, I don't know.
Possibly.
Maybe.
It's some cool stuff. But I again, there was enough there that kept me interested, and so I found it enjoyable enough for what it was. Like
nice.
It was.
Denny, you're up. 10 seconds.
So there you go.
This is the quick review. Is that what we're doing?
There, I try to end it there.
Trying to keep the
Everything
intro
you
moving
said,
here.
I think the opposite of the intro. The 10 minutes of exposition I didn't like. It was a bad start, and then it went into kind of it was basically like it was the intro and then an hour and 20 minutes of one episode of late night television from the 70s, and it felt like that.
Yeah.
So kudos to them for making it seem like late night television from the 70s.
Didn't enjoy that.
But I don't like that. I don't like late night from the 70s.
That's
I don't
right.
like late night now. I especially didn't like it in the 70s when it was super censored. All the colors were just like ugly, like dull yellows and browns, and like they got that right, but I don't like that.
enjoy that.
And that's what it is.
So I mean, you're
And, like,
screwed
most
from
of
the
them-
beginning. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So I have more to say, but
All right.
I really didn't like
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
I thought I like horror movies, and I would not
I'm
recommend
surprised.
this to
I
anybody.
thought you would give this one the benefit that more
I think
leeway.
the 97% Rotten Tomatoes threw me off, but anyway, sorry.
I'd say that I'm somewhere in the middle. I think the more I started to watch it, the more I realized it was an indie film, right? Because like at first you're sort of like, okay, what is going on here? Why is this so bad with the ADR? Like how come I can not, like things aren't lining up? Like, and then I realized maybe about 10, 15 minutes in, I was like, oh, this is just a low budget movie. Like this is not, this was not funded. So that was like, I kind of wrestled with that for the first bit. And, if that's what you're doing, doesn't bode well. I will say that I did get a little bit more engaged as the story kind of went on. And once that girl was on stage, I was like, okay, this is an interesting idea. They were like, I could see where they were coming from as far as what they were trying to do. And they didn't nail it, though. I don't know. I mean, it's just, that's what I'll say for now.
So that was the quick review,
Yeah.
John. You can keep.
I don't know about how
going
we go with the
positive.
long review here.
Yeah.
Were you scared? How about that?
Right.
No.
Yeah, that's
Were
a
you
good question.
scared?
Let's start with that.
Not
John, were you
really.
scared?
No, I
No?
don't think so. I was
Danny?
interested.
I jumped once, and it was when my cat Waffle was sitting in the thing behind the couch, and he knocked a shoe off, and it fell on the ground, and that made me jump.
Okay, so that wasn't related.
in the middle of this movie.
Well,
Yeah,
but it
I
put
don't
you in
think
a-
I
but
wasn't.
it happened during the movie.
I wasn't scared
You're
either.
in a scareable state.
I was. It was like it happened during the scene where she was starting to talk to the young girl that was supposedly possessed. So I was kind of like, it was quiet, and I was like, all right, something's going to happen here.
Right.
And then the shoe hit the ground, and I was like, oh, jump scare. But then there was the jump scare, and I was no longer jump scareable because I already had the shoe.
I mean,
So
this
my
is
cat
one of
ruined the
those
movie for me, I think.
This is one of those indie films that's straight, someone was like, I have $5 million. We're going to keep the budget low with
$1
the
million.
actors.
$1
Okay.
million.
All right.
Right.
So then you're not even that. So this is like someone said to someone else, I have a constraint during COVID. We have $1 million. What can you do with it? And then they came up with this and had to cut a bunch of corners.
One set.
Yeah, one set.
One
Right.
set. Same
Right,
outfits
yeah.
for everyone. 5 actors. This movie was completed in March 2023 and shown at festivals, and it took this long to get to us. So they fucked up there, because I think it would have been more excusable.
Did they
a year
fuck up
ago.
or no? It just wasn't being bought, and then
Yeah.
someone finally wanted it.
Yeah,
IFC
sometimes it
bought
takes
it.
a while,
Who
right?
was- who- you know.
Depending, I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I have no
Yeah,
idea
so
how quickly.
I'm just
it
trying to say that
debuted
like
at the
it would have been more
festivals,
excusable
and-
if all the movies were like this, where it was all just like a bottle episode, or like none of the actors were on the screen together, like that. All those COVID movies, you have like just
Right.
face shots, and they're supposed to be talking to each other, but they're not actually standing next to each other. And people accepted that. But now we're getting real stuff again. We just had Dune Part 2 come out, and that was like a normal
is-
one.
Right.
And then this one is like 5 people in a box for an hour and 20 minutes.
It's very much similar to like Room, right? Okay, here's the constraints. We have one room.
fair.
You're like,
We're on the set.
Fuck, what are we gonna do? Yeah. So I think
This movie made Room seem high budget and well acted. I guess I'll say
for
that.
me, I think I started to respect it more as someone trying to make as much as they could with as little as
Yeah.
possible, and less so about like, ooh, this is a good movie or a bad movie.
yeah,
So I started to just sort of give it some respect in the sense of like, well, they're pulling some shit off with not much. And I was assuming
They don't
around,
have a story to tell.
I was assuming
it's an exercise
around 4
in
or
budget
5
control
million.
is what this
so
is.
you can imagine that I was way off. So that's pretty impressive.
Well, they filmed it in Australia, so there's probably the reduction in budget you were thinking. If you were thinking Hollywood, that might have been
Right.
the 5 or
Okay,
whatever.
true. Yeah, that's a good point. But anyway,
But,
at any rate.
I assume it's cheaper to film in Australia. It's got to be,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I don't know how much more, but it's got to be.
Yep.
But what else, John? Got anything else? Not scared.
I like the setup. I like the different kinds of tension they were trying to create. Him trying to save his show. Him battling with wanting ratings, bringing the skeptic on. The idea of the skeptic, magician, hypnotist, sort of challenging. Again, I like the ideas of the different sorts of conflict they were trying to set up. Whether or not it always worked is fair. But I still liked it. I still saw it. And, I like what you guys are doing. I kind of like the way TC's
And they were
saying
paying
it.
homage to Exorcist, that was kind of cool.
That's fair.
You know?
So
I mean, a lot of tricks that were done in Exorcist were done in this one, it seemed like. So I thought it was a good try. And I mean, knowing that it's $1 million that's pretty impressive, really. I don't, you'd be surprised how fast that money goes.
Nikki and I both we were entertained by it. I didn't mind watching it at the end of the day. And so, I mean, here we are, in the top 25 films and seeing, and in the films we've been watching, seeing some really spectacular things. So also some crap, but, so I don't know. I kind of like the idea of it, just very low budget, scrappy, but it's still, I still thought it was a worth watching. And I thought you would have liked it, Denny, just because you like horror. But
Yeah, it honestly, it felt like I was watching an old episode of Late Night. And that's really just boring. It was so boring.
And I hadn't even
They did it,
I hadn't
Denny.
even put the 2 and 2 together
Yeah.
that I don't like Late Night either.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why. It hadn't even occurred to me.
It just annoys me, all the late night
there's
people.
a boring awkwardness to it that I don't. But they captured that pretty well.
Late night is like award ceremonies, but no one's getting awards. That's what late night feels like.
Nice.
Right? I mean, it's all just like, hey, you're famous and I'm famous. We're in the
And
same
let's
room.
talk.
Let's talk great about each other so we can
we'll make
continue
some
being
jokes.
famous.
That's right. That's right. Let's promote the movie that maybe you'll get an award for later in some other show.
And even if the movie was terrible, we both know it. We have to lie to each other about it because
Yeah.
we need money to come to Hollywood.
I used to like David Letterman.
That's why you liked it, John. You liked 70s late night.
I was old enough to enjoy some late night shows, I guess.
Yeah, Late Night was on its way out, Denny, when we were coming up.
And Letterman is like 80s, early 90s.
Although I
Yeah.
guess some would argue that Late Night's still rocking and rolling. So I don't know.
Is it?
Well, it's
You
the
got-
mean,
you got,
show. I don't know what I don't know.
Kimmel
how
seems to have
popular
plenty
they are.
of following, and so does
Kimmel,
Shit,
Fallon.
Jon Stewart just came back.
I'm watching that. That's good.
That's the Daily Show.
Yeah.
That's not a late night show.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Yeah, but it can
You
be
can watch it
considered
late at
something
night.
in the
Isn't
same
Isn't it at
comes
like
on,
type,
11 o'clock or
right?
something? Isn't it late night?
Is it? I thought the
so.
Daily Show.
It's the same type of show, right? They got guests on, they talk about
Yeah.
stuff, they make jokes to the camera. It's not much different.
I don't think the Daily Show has guests anymore. They just do news.
Oh, they don't.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's probably for the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right though. They do come on. I mean, the show airs like at 10 o'clock. I mean, yeah. So the Daily Show is late. Usually I just watch it like the day after or something.
I just
So-
watch it on YouTube.
Right,
Not
so
television
whenever,
anymore.
right.
So it's Morning with the
So-
Devil.
Yeah.
Morning with the Devil. Not as hey Devil, you want some eggs? Huh? How you like your eggs, Devil?
We are officially out of things to talk about in this movie.
And
What do you
okay.
think
I mean,
about
there's
the main
not much to
character?
say
You find
about
him
this
relatable?
one. Yeah.
You like the acting, John? Did you think it was convincing?
I would love to just talk about how bad the ADR was. I mean, so now knowing that this was no budget, they probably just did it themselves. Fucking watched the screen and they were like, "Let's try as good close as we can get," and that's about all we
Should we go
got.
back to the same spot in the room? No, just do it right next to the
Yeah.
microphone. Who cares? Just throw it in
Because
there.
I was wondering why it didn't sound like the mix sounded so shit. It just sounded like they weren't even close. Like, give it some reverb, try to adjust it a little bit, but it was so dry. It was right in your face the whole time, and I was like, nobody. I mean, it's just almost like there wasn't a mix. I don't know.
Yeah, I just chalked it up. It's like, this is a shitty TV show. This is why your ratings suck, Mr. Jack Delroy.
True.
You know?
It's a good name though.
Jack Delroy?
I like
That
that
wasn't
name.
Good name, Chuck Delroy.
Yeah.
I
There you go,
didn't
see?
like his character. He wasn't consistent. Did you get any consistent character from him? He was like sad, but also angry sometimes, and also a pushover, but also kind of a bully. Like, he was just all the things, it seemed like. It didn't seem like a real...
He didn't have like a specific personality.
Yeah, and it wasn't like he was
that
just
stayed.
complicated. It was
Yeah.
just like he was all over the place. And they didn't give you enough time.
Depending on what the story needed at that time.
Or it didn't even need it. Like, he was just mean sometimes for like no reason, it seems.
Okay.
He was mean to his buddy
Okay.
sometimes, like the guy that got his head twisted around by the end.
Yeah, I didn't
Spoilers.
understand that one. They were friends, but they're not
Yeah.
friends. And then, I mean, the producer, things were just amped up to be amped up, whether it needed to be or not.
Was it like the only thing I could come up with
I
is
can
like
respect
he
that
was
for a horror.
now that like he had the good segment, he didn't want to sacrifice it, so like he switched to be super aggressive because he had it and he wanted to hold on to it, something like that. I don't know. I'm
I
reaching.
mean, they'd have to tell us that one because I didn't
Yeah.
see it. They told us a lot. Tell you that, and that did bother me too, Danny.
the
I have
8
to say.
minutes of exposition.
Yeah,
And they basically
Yeah.
told you at the end of it, it's like, and now you're going to watch one episode of Late Night. And you're like, fuck, I don't want to do that. It sounds
Do that?
terrible.
yeah.
And then it did. It followed through with this promise. I also didn't like, I'm just going to keep going, John, because you're not rebutting me, which is
going.
nice. Sometimes you
It's
rebut me
fine.
and
How
it
can
seems
you?
like I'm
I
wrong.
mean, there's nothing to rebut.
It's okay.
When they had the behind the scenes cameras and they went to black and white, so many behind the scenes cameras for this like shitty
Oh, I
late
know.
night show.
Like, how would they ever do that?
Yeah.
When would they be doing it? Why would they want
They're
those
all
there?
mic'd.
Anyway,
They're being
that's
filmed
like-
at 6 angles
No,
each.
no, that loses the sort of behind the scenes authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're not getting that at all. They just they give other than that it's it's black and white. You're following them. That's the premise that somehow you're watching. This idea that you're capturing behind the scenes footage is killed right away.
It would have been so much
because of
better
that.
if
I mean,
it
I
was just a
think it's
stationary like security camera for
Right,
that behind the
right.
scenes footage.
I know, right. If you would have,
Yeah, I think they used it too. They just edited weird there because like
They knew it was boring.
It
They needed
shouldn't
something to
have
keep your attention.
exactly. So they were trying to keep up the energy and like to do that. They thought multiple angles would be the right call, but by doing so,
That's such a
it
cheap
totally
way.
was like this isn't
Yeah.
real.
Right.
This isn't believable.
Make the
now.
story interesting.
Yeah.
Use a static camera. That's the right way to do it. That would have been so much better. Like you could have actually
And
been
keep those
immersed.
Keep those scenes to a minimum because obviously they're exposition.
Right,
There's nothing
right.
to. The only thing they're there for is to have that conversation that tells us something.
I
So
think
it's
it
like,
would have been more impressive to pull this off as if it's a truly found footage sort of thing, where like we're seeing the show, but then we're seeing
other
bits,
the ghost one.
right. But we're seeing other bits that were there, like through some security footage or something, so they can fill in some of the gaps, right?
Yeah.
That would have been. I think it would have been a lot trickier to pull off. But you're right.
They would have had to have
here
better
they
writing and a more interesting story than what they had.
Yeah,
So what? It
you're
would have been like Paranormal Activity. That's what I was trying to go for.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie did it with the static
That first
cameras.
one was good. That first one was really
Second
good.
one was good too.
If
If you haven't seen the second one, it's pretty good too. They strap cameras to moving things. So you have like a camera that goes back and forth, added tension there. It's pretty good.
I can see how you have lots of fun with that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's there.
It's there. It's gone. This pass. Oh, is it going to be there? Oh, it's closer this time. Fuck.
Oh, dear.
But I think,
do go on, Denny, if you have more to complain about.
Yeah. I do, but it feels kind of mean, I guess, now that it's like low budget and it feels like,
They were trying their
Punching
best with
down.
not much, and you could tell.
There's better. See, you're giving it a lot of slack there. Paranormal Activity had a $15,000 budget, and that movie is way better because it had actual ideas. I feel like this movie stole ideas from a bunch of places. The premise was cool. The premise was original.
Yep.
Show a television show that has people on for Halloween, like all that setup stuff.
Yep.
In general, not the way they did it, but in general, that's not a bad idea, and you could have done something cool with that. But what they do with it is, I thought the first guy, the Christo, whatever the fuck his name was just annoying. Like, I hate people who do that, and it wasn't even acted well like he was supposed to be a real person. The movie wanted you to hate him, and they overdid it, I thought. I had a hard time getting through that portion of the movie, because I was just like, fuck this guy, fuck all these other guys, and I don't like it how this movie is portraying it. Because, these people are real. So I was angry there. And basically, 1, 2, 3 punch. Exposition first 10 minutes. Don't like late night TV. And then that psychic guy was pissing me off. And then I couldn't get back on board because none of the acting was good. They had the 13-year-old girl who obviously wasn't 13 years old. Had a super deep voice. I'm like, what? And then the TV show
20.
is an hour and a half long. What late night show goes? I'm like, when is the show supposed to be over? He's trying to bring people back on at an hour and 20 minutes into this late night show. How long is this show?
Like cable? Overnight cable? I mean, really?
Am I supposed to? And I kept pausing it, like, how close am I to the end? And I'm like, there's 10 minutes left of this movie? What? And then so much shit happens at the end. Everyone fucking dies, and he has a weird dream sequence, ends up stabbing the girl. And then he says something I couldn't understand, rewound it, read it, still don't understand what it means. Did you guys understand what he said at the end?
I don't think it mattered because he was in like that trance or whatever.
But didn't he break out of the trance? He was kind of like, oh no, I killed her.
But I mean, we kind of broke out of the trance. I don't know if he did.
Also,
like the audience.
Weren't all the cameramen supposed to be pointing at the watch? But then there's all these shots of the cameraman panning around to everyone watching the watch. Those cameramen aren't getting hypnotized.
That's a good point.
This movie is very flawed. And I couldn't help but just get annoyed at every low budget thing that happened, basically. Just all the little flaws all the way through that just ruined immersion, because I think the idea could have been cool. And looking at all the reviews, they're like, this is a decent premise. It misses a lot of stuff, but I don't know. I couldn't get by. I wish they had done it in a way that didn't make me angry the entire time.
Well, I guess we can wrap the podcast up with that right there.
Yeah, it's like angry, old, and tired.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not me. It's you, and I'm saying this to the movie.
Yes, it's your film. It's
you
your
film.
film. I'm okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
Just give me
I'm fine.
something good to chew on here.
That's
I thought
fair.
he said dream or hear awake. Dream or hear awake. Dream or hear awake.
When he's yelling the dreamer awake, I assumed it was,
What he actually says is dreamer, comma, hear, period, awake, period.
Dreamer.
Right.
Here.
Dreamer,
Because
hear, awake.
Right, because that's what the skeptic guy said to snap everybody out of the worm hallucination.
Right.
When the skeptic guy yelled,
From the
that's what he
hypnotist
yelled.
stuff
to
That's what he
earlier.
yelled?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
he yelled that to break the spell of the hypnotism.
That's right.
I wish I hadn't missed that. I missed that. You guys didn't get it either, though, apparently.
I wasn't
Did you get that that's what he
caring
was
at that
yelling?
point. I didn't need to make the connection. I was happy it was over.
John, you made the connection?
Yeah,
Okay.
but he was
Because
just
he
trying
wanted to be like, oh, I'm being hypnotized. Someone wake me up or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
fair. Yeah,
Rather
that's
than say I just killed everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was the audience in that last shot?
Well, they'd already left. They'd already screamed and left screaming, and
So no one stopped him from murdering all these people?
No, well,
Because if it was mass hypnosis, then how did they break out of it? And also, it's one guy, and he's not magic. He's just going around stabbing people with a knife.
There wasn't hypnosis then. He actually, I thought that the girl actually did kill all the people around him, and then everybody was running. That was all real. That wasn't hypnosis. When the girl started to kill people, right? She was electrified.
I thought that was the hypnosis part.
No, that wasn't hypnosis. That was supposedly real, and then that's why everybody left. And then he is going into this dream state.
Why?
And imagining these.
Why does he go
things.
into the dream state if no one's hypnotizing him?
Because I don't know.
Or was he hypnotized
If
the
you're
whole
going to say
time?
the little girl is the one who hypnotizes him, why does he kill the little girl who is the one that wants to live?
Don't know.
Yeah, I think he was hypnotized the whole time, and he's the one killing people on stage, and that whole devil thing was just in his mind, and everyone ran out as this one guy who was stabbing people on stage.
I
didn't think it was this deep. I just
assumed actually no. I was
along.
just sort of taking it that we were assuming the devil girl parts were real, and that wasn't hypnosis there.
right.
So that's
I think
why.
So then,
That's
as
where
he's
I
trying to
ended up.
escape, for some random reason, he goes into a trance. As he's leaving, comes back on the stage and kills the devil with the knife?
because supposedly he's not killing the devil. This is the devil's plan. Like she knows, she has this sense. The girl seems to have this indication that, smiling at him. Oh, you're going to be famous. Don't worry, this is going to be great. Like this is the plan all along, and that somehow why the devil wants to be. He's not killing the devil. He's killing the little girl.
Well, he's killing the
devil's
vessel. He's not
possessing.
going to have the vessel anymore.
Yeah. The devil's going to.
That's probably a big bummer for the devil. Vessels are good.
I don't know how it all works. I'm not sure. Like, if the devil is just like, this is what the devil wanted the whole time, and this was the point. This was the deal that was made. For some reason, like the deal was that his wife's going to get cancer and die. That was part of what he paid for his fame, supposedly.
Which doesn't make sense though, because isn't the show the thing that
But the show's still not doing good.
You see how I just stopped caring?
Yeah, it's fair.
You start putting things together, and you're like, none of this goes together. Really, it's one.
They didn't put the pieces together themselves. They're just like, oh, the Grove. Figure it out yourself. The Grove did it. She's the
It's
devil.
spooky.
You figure
There's
it
the
out.
owl guy. He made some kind of pact or something.
Yeah, and I like that. And I like it when the directors don't have any ideas and they just make it vague and expect
That's
us to
fair.
put the pieces together.
I mean, I doubt that. I bet it's worse. I bet there was no story at all, and they had to edit it together, and that's what they ended up with. That's what I would imagine.
Maybe they're just like, they just got to let's put it together what we can put together given what happened in there. We ran out of money.
Yep. Which is why they went into that weird combination of things, because then it took us out of a real story, and now we're into this weird is he in the other side of the universe? Is he in hell? Is he not in hell? Is this a dream? Is it not a dream? Nope, nobody knows. And you're like, okay, then it doesn't matter. Cool. Moving on.
We tricked everyone. You can't criticize me if you don't know what's going on.
I
And you
agree.
don't want to admit you don't know what's going on, so you have to review me positively. Movie critics, that's what this movie did.
Yeah.
What a good trick.
I mean,
hypnotized
it's
all the
more
critics.
like, have mercy on us. Please have sympathy. We only had $1 million. And then
500,000
everyone but
maybe.
Denny is like, okay, no problem.
Hey,
I've seen
job.
better. I've seen better
I was
with less.
engaged enough. I didn't, I wasn't worried about it as much, but am I ever? I don't know.
Sometimes you're more annoyed.
Yeah,
But the film has to be older.
that's right. Even though you would think it's set in the 70s.
Is this still set in the 70s? But that's not old enough.
No, 60s and below.
Yeah.
I think that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all.
I think I've
got.
ranted enough.
Okay. Yeah.
This will be a nice quick edit for me.
I get a really small amount of trivia. This is a new movie.
Oh, you have trivia. Good job.
If we didn't put you off enough, you can get Shudder for free for a week
Oh yeah,
and watch this for free.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys did?
I've done that before
Oh, yeah.
for something else.
It was like AMC.
Yeah.
This is like the most streamed film on Shudder. Apparently,
Yeah.
broke records
Oh, wow.
Well, the most streamed
for Shudder.
record. It's the highest grossing IFC film streaming on Shudder, which isn't saying much because IFC only owns 3 movies or something like that. But hey, Better than nothing.
Yeah, it's doing well.
Yeah. So the small amount of trivia is that the Grove in this movie is based on a real thing called Bohemian Grove, which has been around since the 1800s, and they really have had presidents join it. It has occult mythology around it.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows.
Conspiracy theories,
Yeah. There's like a Wikipedia page. Bohemian Grove is what it's called. It's pretty weird. I don't know. I don't really buy that they're like sacrificing people over there, but
me
it is
either.
it's an all men club where like, they have a meeting once a year to have fancy little lunch parties out in their mansion or whatever. And all these rich guys can talk about how cool they are, typical rich guy stuff.
I mean, sounds kind of good. I don't know.
I just need
wanna be a
a
rich
couple
guy.
$1 billion first.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Right.
And another thing that annoyed me is you guys know The Amazing Randy? You ever heard of him?
Nope.
No.
James Randi. You should look him up. The guy, the skeptic in this movie, is 100% based on him. And The Amazing Randy is actually a pretty cool guy. He used to be a magician, and then he went around and tried to dispel all these notions to try to get people to not fall for psychics or religious people, religious, whatever you call them.
Deities.
People that try to like take your money by brainwashing you, whatever section of the world that may be happening, he tried to get people to be less gullible, sort of thing. And he's actually a pretty nice guy, and he's easy to listen to. And the way they portrayed the character that's obviously ripped off from him in this movie is an annoying piece of shit. The guy in this
That's
movie
right.
was
That's fair.
super annoying. And
Right.
it was kind of like, why the fuck would you do that? Just base it on The Amazing Randy, because I think they didn't have enough tension in the movie.
Yeah, they
like, they're just
probably
like, we need to
needed
make
the
everyone
conflict.
unlikable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone was unlikable. And they're just like, let's just make them all unlikable, because otherwise there's no conflict ever until the last 5 minutes of this movie.
That's true.
So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, because they're not going to gain alliances. It's not a long enough
It would have been more interesting
timeline,
though, to make him likable, and like it would have been more interesting that way to do that rather than just try to create easy conflict.
Yeah.
Even though it was still, it's fun to set up this idea of the skeptic versus the supernatural person or the thing.
If
And
he's so
just-
damn
I mean,
smart, though, shouldn't he know that you can't change people's minds while yelling at them? That does not
Right.
work. You need to come
Right.
from a side of like sympathy and understanding. That's like a requirement. And that's what the real guy had. And I don't know. Just another thing that annoyed me. I was like, that's fucking stupid
That's right.
choice
You
there.
know, it really grinds your gears.
Dude,
You
we watch a lot of good movies, and this one was really not that good, I don't think. I'm glad you guys liked it, but that's all I got to say.
I mean, I didn't
I'll shut up
really
now.
like it. I didn't dislike
didn't
it
hate
as
it,
much
though.
as you
No.
did, but
Yeah.
That's fair. The main actor David Dastmalchian, or it's Malchian, he has a series called Grave Conversations, and it's on Instagram. And he sits in a coffin, and his guest lays down in a coffin. They both are laying down in coffins side by side, and they chat about things.
that's
like
kind
death.
of weird.
They chat about death.
Yeah, death related topics. Yeah,
Who is
That
this
is
again?
The lead actor.
The lead actor, yeah.
So he's a little obsessed with death, I guess.
He wrote like an article he was approached because of an article he wrote about different late night TV show horror hosts. So he's a big fan of this sorts of stuff. So that was one of the reasons he was approached for the role.
And they liked his catalog, his history in movies. He's been in a bunch of good stuff.
Yeah.
He was in Dune Part 1. He was the Baron sidekick that got gassed. I don't know if you recognize him. He was in Oppenheimer.
He was the Mentat, the Peter DeVries.
So did he do this one?
See,
He just
I
did
can't
this one
agree
for
with. I don't,
pro bono or what?
well,
Never mind.
he's the star. He's never the star in his other movies.
I see.
As far as I've seen, and this is like a starring role. So hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, something all right. Did you have any more trivia there, John?
That's all I got.
I did laugh pretty hard. I will give it the one thing. When the worm was coming out of the dude's head, I was laughing at
Yeah, that was pretty.
It looked
pretty
it.
weird.
Really bad.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Top 250?
No.
Well, no.
Oh, no. All right. So next week, we're going to skip the Christmas movie. We're going to save
Okay.
it for Christmas.
Still.
All right.
It's
I
a
like
Wonderful
that.
Life. That's just going to be pushed off until Christmas.
All the way till
because
Christmas.
That's fair.
Okay.
We want to give ourselves a good chance to enjoy that one as much as possible.
Okay.
And if we go back to the list next week, it is kind of a keeping the horror movie vibe with Silence of the Lambs. What do you guys think?
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Let's do
Silence of the
that.
Lambs.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice. And they just released it in 4K too. I know you guys don't do that, but
I
Yeah.
do.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Too many cases.
Oh, like Blu-ray
Okay.
or whatever?
yeah, the physical. So I'm
Blu-ray?
sure. Yeah, but I'm sure all the streaming stuff like update their formats if they remaster it for the physical release. Probably.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe.
Whatever. We'll get it in the highest quality we can find.
And then 7 is following it up. Ho ho.
Oh, baby. All
Be
right.
a lot of gore coming up.
All right.
It's October early.
Sounds good. See you guys
All right.
later.
Talk to you guys later.
All right. Talk to you guys later.